Good morning, good afternoon. Let's dive in. So this is a follow-up to my last video where we started re-looking at the sermon series that JP did on the Ten Commandments. So we looked at the first part of a sermon. The original second part of that sermon, I'm actually going to break into two parts, because rewatching it, I'm realizing that it needs to be talked about in two pieces. So a big portion of this part of the sermon is him talking about hurt people hurting people. And I think it's unbelievably crucial and telling, simply based on what we know about JP. When I originally posted this, not long after I did a video where and it ruffled some feathers, where I shared a bit of empathy towards JP's upbringing. Okay. Allison has discussed this. There's a sermon where he discusses it. I do firmly believe that he was ABUSED as a child. And while that does not give him permission to do that to others, I do think he grew up thinking that that's just, it was okay. Because I'm going to guess that there are people around him who were also justifying their actions because that happened to them. Anyway, so he goes on to talk about hurt people hurting people. And I want you to listen to it. And then I want you to let me know what you think. Justice for Micah. Justice for all.
Cain killed Abel. 1 John 3:12, do not be like Cain, who murdered his brother because he hated Abel. Do you know that 85% of all school shootings, the very first psychiatric helper to come in there, after it happened, after they got into custody, the 85% of every school shooter, the first thing they portrayed was they were angry and filled with hatred towards their peers for rejecting them. It's a root of rejection. And they hold it on the inside and they just explode. And when you ask them why, they make excuse after excuse. God said, why are you angry? Stop making excuses and deal with it once and for all. And here's what happens. Hurt people always hurt people. Amen. The second hurt is the verb. People who have been hurt and haven't dealt with it correctly, they always end up hurting somebody else. Let me give you the analogy for this point. It's similar to if you have a pot, and our heart is the pot, and we fill it with water, and we put it on the stove, and someone does us wrong, and the heat gets turned up. Somebody says the wrong thing, the heat gets turned up. Their name is brought up, and the heat gets turned up. Or you barely do anything, offend them, or say something the wrong way, and that turns the heat up on them. And it's because their heart is filled with this anger or this water, and all of a sudden things start to boil over. But if there's no water in the pot, no matter how high you turn up the temperature, there'll be no boiling. You got to get rid of the water in the pot. Get rid of and I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you an application of exactly how to do it, and I dare you to try it. But you got to get rid of the water in the pot so that when things get turned up, when the heat comes on, you won't boil over and do something you regret.